Now on BBC Two, it's One Man and His Dog.
Welcome back to Llanfair Tal Hian on a lovely, mellow, misty morning. Last week we had the Scots set an incredible standard, Michael Shearer with 98 points. This week we've got the Irish, underdogs often, but last year Dennis Birchall actually won the whole series. Are they going to surprise us again today, Gus?
Yes, they could do. The Irish are getting better and better each year, and this year I don't think it's going to be any exception, because we've got Eric Barfoot. Now, I did refer to him as maybe the amateur, because he isn't a farmer, but he's running a bitch called Dot, and they're on form, and they get into the Irish team and through into the international quite often.
And we've got 3 bitches.
Yes, we certainly have. So it's gone obviously a bitch that wins today. And then from County Tipperary we've got John Brennan, and he's got a red and white bitch, and she's a little smasher, she is. And he's been on the programme once before, about 10 years ago. And then the newcomer to the series, Trevor Henning, he comes from County Armagh, and he's got a little bitch called Gail, and I like her a lot. So there's no way I can predict any one of them here today, because they're all good and it could well be close.
I'm looking forward to it.
I certainly am.
Let's go and see our first competitor.
We're off to County Tipperary now to meet a man who spent 25 years teaching but now farms full-time. He's John Brennan.
We're living at the foot of the Devil's Bet, which has the old fable about being shaped by the devil taking a piece out of the top of the mountain and dropping it actually at the Rock Cashel. My family has been in this area for donkey's years, I suppose. My grandfather bought this farm here about, I think, 80 years ago, and my father came to live here in 1950. My sister Anne is here at the moment with her children, and my other sisters come home as well during the summer every year for a holiday and for a break away from the city. The rest of the year, I think it's a bit quieter. Yeah. Traditionally we were mixed farmers. In actual fact, dairy farming was predominant here when I was growing up, but the main farming enterprise now is sheep farming with some beef cattle, but it's really mainly Suffolk cross with Cheviot and Blue Domain and general lowland mixture. I keep a good few dogs, and I train my own dogs, and my strength perhaps in sheepdog training is my ability to train young ones and bring them on. And in actual fact, the very first pup I reared, and I trained it myself, turned out to be extra good, and I felt it was good enough for trials, and that took me into the start of it, and I got hooked on it, and I'm still at it. I guess about 18 years, I think. The dog I'm running, One Man His Dog, is a brown bitch, Meg, and she's placid and 8.5 years old, I think, and she's experienced. She's small, and she looks smaller when she's working because she carries herself close to the ground, but she doesn't stop. She's not clappy. She keeps coming. It's very stylish. She's good to settle sheep, and she has a natural instinct. She's a very, very naturally clever dog. She's even perhaps too clever at times. She's slightly temperamental, and she's kind of a natural genius that works on her own instincts rather than intensive training. I've been a One Man His Dog 10 years ago exactly. I hope to do as good as I can, like. It all depends on what happens in the day, and we just hope for the best. That's all you can do in training.
And there's the Welsh team. They'll be watching the outcome of this competition very closely. John Brennan and Meg are a very consistent team, and when on form and with good sheep, they're difficult to beat. In the previous 2 heats, the winning run came from the first competitor to take the field. Will the same apply to John today? Sheep are at the post, and Meg is away to the left. John's looking very relaxed, very confident with his director's hat as Meg follows the wood around to the left but the sheep are moving off the post. Meg spotted this. She's going deeper into the field, going much wider towards the fence. But she's slowed right down, not covered them properly. And now John's asking her on. Well, she dropped 2 points for just stopping that little bit short, but it's a good lift. And it's clear, full points for the lift. The sheep are coming down the field fast, but they're on line for the gates. Just drifting a little bit to the right again, but Meg's in that position to cover. Well, it's been a good fetch, a little bit fast, but certainly on line. And now they've got to be eased around the post and off onto the drive. Well, that was a good turn. Just the 3 points dropped on the fetch. The sheep are dictating the speed, but Meg's keeping up with them. She's keeping them on line. And they're going straight towards the first drive gates. Nicely through. Meg round quite fast. And down the hill from right to left on the cross drive. Just drifting a little bit uphill, Meg covering, lining them up for the second drive gates. Nicely through. And the wood's stopping them going too wide. But they're drifting a little bit to the left, and Meg's not quite covering them properly as they come down to the shedding ring. That's better. And now they're into the ring. Only the 5 points dropped off the driving. Well, that was very good. The collared ewes are together on the right. Some geese flying low overhead. It doesn't seem to have bothered John. There's an opportunity on the right. All the sheep are going in the same direction. He's asking Meg through, but she's a little bit uncertain. She threw a tail then, so she didn't get the single sheep. Well, they all went out of the ring, and obviously he's not going to get full points for the shed. There's a chance again on the right. The collared ewe moving off. He's asked her in. Accepted by the judges. But how many points will it have cost him? Ooh dear, only 4 out of a possible 10. Well, that's disappointing. It had been such a good trial up to that point. John's obviously going to try and avoid a major points loss as he goes towards the pen. Gently does it. And there's a challenge there from a defiant ewe. They've not given up fighting yet. Starting to turn towards the mouth. Oh, there's a break on the right and on the left. Well, Meg covered that brilliantly. For a 9-year-old bitch, she's still extremely fast. She's got them bunched. Pushing onto John's side now. But there we are. In they go. No problems at the finish. And just the 1 point dropped at the pen. That's 93 points in total. Well, John and Meg have now thrown the glove down. A good score, into the 90s. I wonder if it'll stay on top as in the previous rounds.
Well done, John.
Thank you.
I was a bit worried at one stage because I thought you were going to be so perfect that we wouldn't have anything to talk about.
I think the shed sorted that out.
Very good first half of the course.
Yes,
Wonderful.
Yes. It was good up to the shed, I think, but We thought I had single, but it didn't come off at the first time.
As you were in the ring, a load of geese went over. Were you aware of it?
I didn't. I was concentrated on what I was doing. I didn't hear them, no.
So they didn't break Meg or your concentration?
They didn't break mine anyway, whatever about Meg's, I don't know.
John, I don't want to appear to be rude, but you're wearing a silly hat. What's it mean?
I don't know, I wouldn't put too much attention to what's written on it.
I thought you directed the dog and the sheep very well.
OK, thank you.
Our next competitor is from the north, Cookstown in County Tyrone to be exact, and he has no farm and no sheep. He is Eric Barfoot.
It's a lovely place to live. It's beautiful all times of the year, spring, summer and autumn. I suppose nature is really what life is about. I find today a lot of us, we haven't time to study nature. We're too busy with the toils of everyday life. It's when you switch off and maybe you're lying waiting on someone coming to lift a net on the shores of Lough Neagh or on the mouth of the Ballinderry or the Moyle River's daylight. That's when you see nature at its best. That's when it's quiet and peaceful and you see the world really as it is.
Eric's job as a fisheries conservation officer means that he spends plenty of time on the river at work and play.
A day fishing is not really about catching fish, it's about a day relaxing around the river. And trialling is very much the same. As you get out to the fields, you get in among the dogs and the men, you have the banter and the fun with the other fellas, and it's just a good relaxing day. I think I got the dog habit from my grandfather. My grandfather was always a shooting man and always kept a spaniel or two and a terrier or two, and I suppose they say it misses a generation, so I suppose that's where it come out.
Eric has kind neighbours with Suffolks, Ken Short and Norman Wilkinson, who's also a trialler. And it's on their land that Eric gets to run his dogs, hone his skills and polish his trialling techniques.
Dot is now 4 coming 5-year-old, Nan is 3 coming 4-year-old. They're both nice-natured dogs, easy to handle. Dot particularly, Nan is a bit pushy. Dot would have more eye than Nan. Nan would possibly be a better dog for a little bit more eye. But they're both free flanking dogs. And that's, you know, if you have too much eye, they're difficult to flank. If you haven't got enough eye, then they're not a nice balanced dog and sheep. It's a blend, it's getting it all right. And I suppose like human beings, there's no dog perfect and there's none of us perfect. I've always enjoyed one man and his dog. I suppose one man and his dog is probably one of the main reasons why I'm here today. It's very interesting for everybody. It's a challenge, and I just hope I don't make a mess of it.
Eric is one of the great characters in Irish trials, both on and off the field. A cheerful competitor who takes the rough with the smooth, always coming up smiling. He moved over to collies after years in gun dogs, and he's gone to the top. Eric and Dot go well together, and we could be about to see a very competitive run. Looking rather serious at the moment, as Dot goes up the field,